Today on the Happi House, presented by Creative Kid Stuff. The Happi House is in Kenya today. That's right, I said Kenya. We're certainly going to take in some sights, but more importantly, we're here to see some of the amazing projects Greater Good supports. Join us to learn more about these inspirational women in Africa and hear their incredible stories. And finally, we're on our way to Wildlife Works. We'll take an up-close look at just a handful of the programs they do to protect animals and foster a community. Stay tuned. Hi, I'm Happi. I learned early on things are much easier with a little help. I also have a few tricks of my own to share. It's go time, people! Welcome to the Happi House, presented by Creative Kid Stuff. Jambo, that's hello in Swahili. We're at the Giraffe Center in Nairobi, and we're going to be able to get up close and personal with these beautiful creatures. This center protects giraffes. It's their goal to combine people and nature and create sustainable living. The Giraffe Center is the creation of a Kenyan conservation organization. The purpose of the Giraffe Center is to educate Kenyan schoolchildren about their country's wildlife and environment, and to give visitors an opportunity to come into close contact with a wild animal by feeding the world's tallest species, the giraffe.
What did you think about feeding the giraffe, Happi?
I liked it.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're so beautiful. It's really amazing, and they're very gentle, actually. Although they do not like to be pet necessarily, and if you don't have food, you are not exciting to them at all. Our group is visiting the Sheldrick Elephant Orphanage. This organization rescues elephants from poaching and then releases them back into the wild. Today we are going to watch the elephants. Oh, look, there they come! We're going to watch the elephants be fed and learn a little bit more about this organization. These baby elephants were orphaned because of poaching. They would not survive alone in the wild, and so when they're rescued by this organization, it gives them a chance at life. This house looks quiet from the outside, but there's a lot of creative energy and activity going on the inside. We're at Sasa Jewelry Designs, and I have to say, this is one of my favorite visits I've ever made. I am surrounded by these amazing women making beautiful, beautiful jewelry. Many of these women worked for a very long time to find jobs and were rejected again and again because of the fact they are deaf.
Amen. So,
What just happened?
We were welcomed. It was so nice. We're about to eat cake now. These jewelry designs can be found at Greater Good. Greater Good feels very strongly about empowering women and helping them make their lives better through work. These women take a lot of pride in what they create and work very, very hard to make sure each piece is beautiful and perfect. The motto of the artisans at Sasa Designs is "Hear Me Now," because even though they can't hear, they have plenty to say.
She had so many challenges before she was doing business, before she knew this. Before she was not working here and she was really suffering. So she could not even pay her rent. So she was living with her parents. So it was so challenging. She tried to look for a job, applied in many places, but she didn't get. When she came here, she asked for a job. God helped her to get the information about this. By that time, she didn't have the experience. But she really wanted to know. Her friends were encouraging her, just try, but it was very hard. She repeated, she was shocked. She was afraid she's going to make wrong things. It was so challenging. She was really making wrong things. When she goes to the toilet, she cries because she's making wrong things. They tried to teach her, but she was wrong so many times. But her boss was telling her, you must do this. You must do this. If you don't do it right, you'll go home. She even wanted to leave. She wanted to give up, but she tried until she knew, until she got it. She knows it very well. So life has changed. Now it's better than before. She can even go to supermarket, buy things just because of this. Children are going to school just because of this. It's better now. She's living a good life now. Now it's better than before. Thank God.
No more crying in the toilet.
No more crying in the toilet. No more crying in the toilet.
To learn more about these women and see beautiful jewelry, visit thehappyhouse.com. Up next, we're on our way to Wildlife Works. We'll take an up-close look at just a handful of the programs they do to protect animals and foster community. Our adventure continues as we move on to visit Wildlife Works and take an up-close look at just a handful of the programs they do to protect animals and foster community. Welcome to Kenya.
Don't forget me.
I wanted to leave you here so she can come very fast in Kenya.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'll get the next one.
Welcome.
We don't have any room, Lynn.
Good move. See an opening?
Sort of like you write your own traffic.
Oh, yeah. Suggestion. Were you a NASCAR driver?
Don't
We are
distract
trying-
him, Lynn. Don't distract him.
Oh, nice move. Oh, Heavy Love is trying to pass us. Oh, Darlene's coming at us.
Oh.
We're stuck between Darlene and Heavy Love.
You have the horn, so you have to respect me. My horn is big.
Hi, we made it. Tell me what your mission is and then really what happens here.
Essentially, we're a conservation organization. Our mission is to find ways to conserve elephants and other endangered wildlife and the forest habitat in which they live. And what's unique about us, I think, we provide income to the community through jobs, and we bring investment into the community through the international marketplace for environmental services that are provided. That's our mission, is to harness the power of the global marketplace to conserve wildlife.
We finally struck water here. We've had a couple dry ones over the years, and it's a $20,000 crapshoot when you drill a hole looking for water around here.
So you're making this into a permanent water hole?
This, yeah, where we're going to put a trough probably here, and feed the trough, and then any overflow. 7,000 liters an hour they measured. So
Wow.
any overflow is just going to go into the dam. A good plan to imagine that there are crocodiles in every body of water in Africa, but they're generally not any. This is not a permanent body of water, so
Okay.
it dries up in the dry season, so they're able to live. We do very occasionally get a hippo visiting us.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a lion. That's a lion. Yeah, it's a big lion.
That's a nice one. The Wildlife Works project here in Kenya, we call it the Kasagao Corridor Project, is 500,000 acres, so 500,000 acres, and it covers the land that lies between Tsavo East National Park and Tsavo West National Park. So those two national parks have a gap between them of about 70 miles, and that gap was where the communities were starting to clear and for farming. But the elephants don't understand the gap. They don't know there's a gap there. There is no fence on the park. And so traditionally they've moved back and forth between these parks seasonally for food or water. And so the goal of this project was to protect that corridor for elephants and make sure that they would always be able to migrate through this corridor from the two national parks.
This is Eric Sagwe, he's our head of security, head ranger, and these are some of the sections of rangers that we have. So these guys are responsible for looking after the entire project area.
We had the opportunity to visit with a group of rangers. This group protects 500,000 acres of land on foot, walking 20 miles each day. They track animals and scout for poachers. This is a very dangerous job and their lives are often at risk.
Last year when we were here, our shoes actually were worn out completely. But when you came in, I made a very, very simple request about shoes, and in fact they were delivered. About 300 pairs. My team received 2 pairs each. Everybody is very, very happy. It's a multi-purpose shoes. You can wear it to church, you can wear it to the weddings, and you can operate with them in the bush. So they are very, very nice.
They wear these to the weddings?
Yeah, they wear them to the weddings.
Nice.
Sure, sounds fun.
You guys do amazing work. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Sante sana.
So Greater Good's been a great partner for us in a number of ways. I think the thing that we value the most is having a business relationship with Greater Good, because Greater Good needing product and selling product means jobs for the women who have to make the product. So that's the most important relationship that we have. Greater Good has a fabulous audience of caring people who buy things. And so the money from buying those things does great things, but actually the making of those things can also do great things if they're made in a project like this. And so that's the biggest impact, I think, and the best impact is that your demand for products that we can produce here mean more jobs that we can then give the community. In addition, Greater Good has also worked with some of our local women's groups and some of our local school groups to provide separate funding for those activities that are also very helpful to extend the benefits to the community of this project.
Visiting one of the many groups Wildlife Works supports. Today we're visiting a women's group who specializes in making beautiful baskets. I think I'm going to have to get a few myself because I love baskets. This is one of the ways Wildlife Works has reached out to the communities containing over 100,000 people to include them and provide them with a way to earn income. Really right now.
What's the haul?
I only have listen. One for Poopsie, one for me, and then this tote, which I need a market tote.
Let's make a definition. Poopsie is your mom's
My
nickname.
mom. I'm bringing a Prezi home for my mommy.
Nice. Very restrained, Happy. Good job.
I feel like I want one more.
Yet again, I'm international with Happy, and she is shopping.
It's for a good cause.
Your house?
It's for two good causes. I'm not being silly. These baskets are beautiful, and it really is for a good cause, because these women, if they don't have the income from this, are forced to do other things like making charcoal, and it's bad for their environment, and it's actually bad for them. So this is a much healthier way for them to send their children to school and put food on the table.
Welcome again.
Coming up next, we're learning about innovative methods for organic gardening, all the way from Kenya. These are tricks you'll be able to use yourself. I'd always heard how hard it is in drought-stricken Africa to grow anything because of the lack of water. The innovative gardening staff at Wildlife Works does things by trial and error. It's really impressive. They're patient, and they come up with solutions that really work. Their garden is flourishing.
All our activities in Wildlife Works, as I'm sure you have been told, are geared towards conservation of wildlife, that is plants and animals as well. We establish forests and plant trees where there has been degradation and in new areas. We collect approximately 30,000 tree seedlings from the community. We nurture these seedlings until the next rains, the longer rains, which come in November, December. Thereafter, during the rainy season, we distribute it back to the community. We buy from them, but when we distribute, we give it out free of charge. So that way we are contributing to reforestation and afforestation in new areas. The most important thing is to employ the local people. So people have only two resources, that is animals and the trees for burning charcoal. If they were not here, majority of them would be engaged in either of those two at a certain level.
Most people don't realize that probably estimates are something like 80% of Africa's rural population, maybe higher, use charcoal as a fuel or produce charcoal to sell as a product. A sad but interesting fact is that when you see a bag of charcoal on the highway here, which is where it is stored before it's transported up and down in the market, 7 of those sacks represent one 200-year-old tree. So an ancient hardwood tree is rendered down to 7 sacks of charcoal, and the market value of those 7 sacks of charcoal is used to be $20. Now it's probably $40 because the scarcity of the wood to turn into charcoal is increasing the price.
We're at the Wildlife Works greenhouse learning about innovative methods for organic gardening. It's really incredible. Vertical farming is a way to stretch your resources. 3 of these upright containers equals 1 row of plants. That's 24 meters of space in these compact containers.
It is a skill that not everyone can do this very easily. I taught these guys to do it, and now because I have not been doing it, now
they're better?
They're much better. I don't even know.
Isn't that how it goes?
I don't even want to try now.
Lynn, they're growing ginger here. You gotta smell this. It's so good. It's crazy.
Take it home.
It's all about conservation. I'm not taking anything.
Well, he picked it. So.
I know. I am so impressed with everything and how smart they are. And I actually asked him how he learned to do all of these things and what his training was. And like everything Wildlife Works does, it's so collaborative. He said he learned from people along the way. He's been doing this for 25 years. Sometimes he reads things, but basically people, when they find something that works, they share it with him. When he finds something that works, he shares it with others. So it's just such an amazing community here.
Here, give me the ginger again.
It's so
I'm
good.
in heaven.
I know. I don't want to leave this place.
They're all checking us out. I don't like the look in his eye.
I know that one like kind of
Yeah.
squared up with us a little bit.
We ended our Kenya adventure with an amazing safari. Seeing all of these beautiful animals in their habitat is proof that Greater Good and Wildlife Works truly are doing great work. This was the trip of a lifetime, and I will never forget it. I was so impressed and really oftentimes moved by all the work that's being done. But there's honestly so much left to still be done. So to learn more about Greater Good and the projects they're involved with and how you can help, visit thehappihouse.com.